Pat, you owe me $25. I thought I'd let everybody know. Hey, give me the bump, man. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
We're gonna be live on YouTube today.
You say y'all won't be?
We will be. Oh, it might be on there now. We're not live now.
Just started.
Oh, okay. So.
Okay. Well, y'all got me here in person, so.
All right, fantastic. Man. We're always happy to see you.
Yeah.
Especially Colonel Jones.
What if I grab the pass? That's him there. That's his record right there. It's Coach record. I just want to mention it. I want to mention it later on sometime.
Where Bongo go? You want to do this?
Yeah, I just want to. I ain't gonna read all that. I just want to mention.
Okay.
Where did Vaughn go?
All right, Tommy. Why don't we do this?
Okay. A couple announcements. One, if anyone is interested in going to the South Carolina State game, there is a bus that's going to go and come right back. Miss Ava Williams. But I want to take this time to announce one of our great rattlers passed, a guy named Floyd Andrews. We were childhood friends, but he retired and is the winningest active coach in the state of Florida. His team won 42 consecutive games, and in 1968 they were undefeated and declared the team of the decade. In June, they honored him with that, and he's in the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame. But he was a tremendous guy and one of the greatest coaches in the state.
Thank you, Tommy.
Oh, I'm sorry. He coached basketball. He played basketball in West Palm Beach. Yeah, and the team is in the West Palm Beach Hall of Fame.
Tommy, are you sure that he holds the record for most 40?
I was waiting
For the,
that's why I gave you that.
I wa-
There's all the evidence right there. As a matter of fact, since you brought it up, he won 700 some games, but 42 of his games they don't even know because when he coached at Weewalk Hitchcock, they lost the records or something. He estimated about 40 some games. So
well,
he's in the Florida Sports Hall of Fame.
all right.
Unlike Carl Edwards.
Well, if they lost the records, Tommy, it doesn't exist. He didn't do it. Jones High still reigns supreme. Yes, sir. Thank you, Harold. You know, Arnold, I thought of something you told me, and I wanted you to say it a couple of weeks ago after the loss to Grambling. Jackson State. Yeah, and now you may not want to. Okay, all right. Well, let me kind of introduce it. Arnold was in doing his usual office work, Allstate Insurance, and a couple of people he knows real well were giving him a hard time about our loss and elevating the Seminoles across town, who's looking very good now. And Arnold took umbrage to that a little bit. What did you say, umbrage?
I asked them if they remember
Yeah.
when Lamar Jackson put up 60-some points on them.
Oh, no.
I said, that's just an anomaly. So I said, the same thing happened to FAMU. So I ain't like this, we just all that bad.
Yeah, so those lopsided scores can happen to anybody.
Exactly. And Jimbo Fisher was
And I wanna thank you for standing up for the Rattlers at a time like this. Uh, is Mr. Eugene Lamb here? Mr. Lamb, where is he? Oh, Mr. Lamb. I want to take a couple of moments to tell you how I appreciate your son's remark when the board was giving the president a hard time. The board of governors was giving the president a hard time, and they were pretty hard. And at one point, Mr. Lamb's son, who's chairman of the board of governors, brought a halt to all those hard questions and said, "We've had enough of this. Let's not forget all the positive and great things going on at FAMU." And it's nice to have a brother in charge of the board who speaks his mind. So, Mr. Lamb, let him know how much I think all of us appreciate the way he handles the board. Yeah. Before we get started, Colonel Joe and Seven Cobb have a major announcement. So if you two guys would come up now.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure for us to be here today and to be in the 220 club environment. We have a presentation that's going to be made by two gentlemen, two boosters, and to the athletic department through us. And asked them if he'd join us here for the luncheon, and they have done that. All of us that are members of the boosters, would you raise your hand, one of your hands, and wave it in the air so you all can see that you're in a joint crowd. And then there's also those here who are boosters, who are 220 quarterback club. Raise your hand, and that puts us all here again. And so we're here together, and we thank you all for being here and making this presentation to us. This is Mr. Juan Valdez. He's the good-looking guy over there, and the other guy is his son. And they have been absolutely fantastic for us here at FAMU. I got notes so I don't forget anything, because we know them because of Mary Williams. Mary Williams and I went down on the corner of Orange Avenue and Monroe Street and had lunch with them, met them, had a good talk. And they said to us that they wanted to support FAMU athletics. And they have been good ever since that time, doing that to us and for us. They've been to the kickoff luncheon with us, gave us a contribution, and sat with our coach. They gave us $10,000 at that visit, and then they came back a second time. We got them out to meet the coach of the golf team, and we had lunch together. And the next year they gave us $12,000. 2,000 of that went to the golf team. If you were to, I'd like to say how many stores they have. I had on my notes they have 18 of the McDonald's stores here in the community, and I asked them, and they said it's 21. But I like being wrong there. They've got 21 stores here, but their favorite store is the store that's down on the corner of Orange Avenue and Adams, and they don't mind telling you that. And there's a lots of good things. And if you, at homecoming time, if you go down to that store, it looks like you're walking into a FAMU annex instead of walking into a McDonald's. And the manager for that store is a graduate of where? Florida A&M University, and they're very open about that. And they have their top senior vice president is a young man who wears a suntan just like mine. So not only are they contributing, but they are also being very diverse in what they do. They've also joined us at our restaurant here on campus where our kids are. We went in there for fried chicken, And we just made an agreement. We're going to go back in there sometime here soon and get that fried chicken, or go on Wednesday for some fish. They also came in. We're in the president's box. It's a long story, but I'll make it short. And we had the tag that you put on the mirror so that you would know that this person is invited by the president of the university, and they told us what parking space to put them in. And about the end of the fourth quarter, I got a call from Raphael. Says, my car's missing. And I said, wow, okay, I'll be right there. And right there, and sure enough, we knew who to call, and it had been towed. So put them in the Sequoia, and we drove down and got their car. Just to show you what kind of people they were, however, they left the tow place making some offer perhaps to give the people who towed their car some business in the future for some of their stores. But that's the kind of guy they were, and we got away with that. We've met their family member, their wife, and the whole bit, and they've been very good. And this year, when we told them we were doing a virtual fundraiser, they agreed to give us a contribution again. And this year, they are here today to present us with a check and meet you all. The check is for $15,000, and so. And so that means in those three contributions, they've given us $37,000. They have gone into our field house, they've gone down to the stadium, and they most of all have said that they support FAMU, and they will continue to support FAMU in the future. Coach, I see you're here because they sat with the coach, and they've got to meet our coach and admire him as well. Would you all please come on up now, and let's give them another big round of applause. Okay, so I want to ask John C. if you'll come on up here with us too, please. Coach, come join us over here for the pick. I'm going to let Raphael say a word or two. He's going to hand it to me, and then he's going to say something. That way I'll make sure I get the money before he talks to us. Mike, where are you? This is coming to you eventually anyway. Who am I missing? I got Mary didn't make it. Okay. All right, come on, let's close in, and let's get a picture, and I'm going to put my hands on it. Y'all come on closer here. You got to get in here. Come on. Okay. All right, you got a good one? Let me get my mask off for just one second here, okay? Let's go ahead and do that this time. All right, here we go. One more? Yes, sir. Well, again, thank you, and let's let you have a few words.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Nowadays, everywhere I go with my son, I had to take the microphone from his hands. It used to be in my hands. Now the microphone and the leadership is in his hands. And as a family and as a father, I'm very proud of my son, Raphael. Now he is the majority owner of the business, and he is the one leading our organization. And Rafi, I call him Rafi. Rafi is all yours.
Yeah. No, I'll be quick, but it really is a pleasure. You know, it really is genuinely a pleasure to be with you guys. We enjoy our relationship with FAMU. We have so many great employees that work for us that came through your university. Terry, he was in the Marching 100. He runs the restaurant down on South Monroe and Orange. We have area supervisor go through FAMU. Multiple employees. Great employee base, FAMU. We love it when you guys go back in session because we get employees. So we love that. And we offer them $2,500 a year in scholarship. All they have to do is work 90 days for us, 15 hours a week, and we give it to them. So, yeah. Yeah, so it's a pleasure. We enjoy our relationship with Colonel Joe. He's more of a friend. That's how we see him, family friend now. And we're just excited. I have a quick story. First, and also it's very easy for us because our values really align with FAMU. You know, we're all about faith, family, education, and it's just easy to see the spirit in FAMU and you guys and when we're on campus. But I was telling Colonel Joe, this just shows you the reach of FAMU, is I was in Europe for 2 weeks, and I was on a trip. I got my MBA through Northwestern University in Chicago, and they took about 50 of us to Portugal. We're there, we're visiting wineries, and for dinner, this girl sat down next to me. We started talking. She said, "You're from Tallahassee?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I grew up in Tallahassee." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, I went to Lincoln High School and I went to FAMU." And we're in Portugal, with all these people. And I was like, "What are the odds?" She goes, "My mom and dad were professors at Florida A&M for many years." So, we had a great conversation, but that just shows you the power of Florida A&M. You're really global, and the touch that you guys have and you provide to these students and the next generation. It's just ongoing, and it's your legacy. It's a legacy that you guys are leaving. So you should be proud of that. So I'm just happy to be here and support you guys.
Coach said he's going to be quick. See, I've, as you can see, I never served as a spy. But because Coach has a big game this week, and he needs to get back with his players and to talk with me later on about the game operations. But it's always a pleasure for me to introduce the head coach of the Florida A&M University Rattlers, Coach Willie Simmons.
Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate it. Ralph, good to see you again, man. We got to get you over to the field house and do another facilities tour for you guys. We had some upgrades, I think, since the last time y'all been there. But we appreciate all your support. We really do. So good to be here with everyone. Obviously, big game coming up this weekend. We talked a little bit about it last week. But again, Alabama A&M's a team right now that's kind of, the record doesn't really indicate how dangerous this team is. You watch them on film, they don't look like an O3 football team. They play extremely hard. They have a lot of transfers. 9 of their 11 starters on defense are all FBS transfers. And so there's only 2 guys off of last year's team that's still playing on their defense. So a lot of new guys. Obviously, when you bring that much change to any organization, it takes a little while to get going. And so you see those guys starting to gel a little bit more now. And so every week their point total given up has gone down, right? So we want to make sure we stop that trend, and means we have a pretty good combination with the orange hats, and so got me. Okay, good. So so yeah, we'll be in the orange hat with all green uniforms. School colors green. Obviously, it's Children's Day there, so we expect a large group of yeah, green is the color, and but yeah, we expect a lot of our youth. It's Youth Day, and so I know we have 2 organizations, the Show Off organization in Gadsden County, and then I think the organization, I can't remember the name of the organization in Thomasville. Their youth group will be there as well, and so we'll have something special for those 2 youth groups before the game. But should be a lot of great activities this weekend. So definitely look forward to a great game. Keep our home winning streak going. We're now at 11 games. Definitely want to make that 12. And defensively, we've been playing really, really well at home. So we want to make sure we continue that trend as well. So be ready to be loud and vigilant on third downs, and help our guys get the other team off the field so we can get the ball back offensively and put a lot of points on the board. So definitely looking forward to it, and definitely want to answer any questions that you guys might have. And then I will, well, real quick, I'll just give an update now. A lot of you guys probably saw in the paper or online, one of our coaches, Coach James Spady, who was our special teams coordinator before this year, is now our tight ends coach. Coach had some health complications after the Carolina game, which caused him to have to stay over in Chapel Hill. He was admitted to the hospital. They kept him there for about a week with observation, and as a result of some of his health-related issues, he's now without sight currently. So we're optimistic that it's not a long-term thing, that it's something that, between the medication that they have him on to kind of regulate some of his bodily functions, that we can get the vision back. He already had kind of lost vision in one eye, but the one that was the good eye, hopefully he can get vision back in that one. So he's been out now for the last few weeks, kind of kept it under wraps. But obviously now they've started a GoFundMe that they put out there publicly, so now it's kind of public information. But he's in good spirits. He came by the facility yesterday, and the guys, good to see him, and again, is in good spirits as you can be. He's more concerned about not being able to coach and be there with the guys than he is about his own eyesight right now, which just kind of shows he's an old football coach through and through, caring more about coaching than he is about his own health. And so again, but just keep him in your prayers, keep him and his wife and the family in your prayers, and we hope that he'll be able to bounce back from this and resume what he loves to do, but also be able to obviously have a healthy lifestyle. So just wanted to put that out there if there's anybody who had any questions about that. And but he's, like I said, he's in good spirits. Just keep him in your prayers. So, but we'll open the floor for questions before we let A.D. Smith come up. Oh my, I don't. I'll get that from. Yeah, they'll finally get it to you, boss.
What's the status of your offensive line?
Yes. But so Caesar is out for the year with the ACL that he suffered in the Carolina game, and then Brian Crawford is probably another week away. He'll probably be able to come back hopefully next week. He's practicing in limited capacity this week, but we don't want to rush him back and then have another setback. So probably hold him for another week and then maybe get him back next week. And then everybody else is pretty healthy. We still have one other lineman that we're waiting. He may have to, I think this will be his last game having to sit, and then he'll be hopefully able to join us next week. But we're still dressing about 16 linemen. I think I counted this morning that are good to go, and so we should be okay depth wise. It's just called Help Support FAMU Coach James Spady. So if you type his name in, it'll probably come up with it. It's just a GoFundMe with his name. So yeah. Yes, Coach. You're in your own spot. What you? The coaches? Oh, we had the same pants on. Yeah, but so we wear different. Like I wear a different color shirt because I want them to be able to see me. Yeah, and then so some coaches wear. Yeah, but it's all FAMU Nike gear. So long as it's FAMU Nike stuff, we'll be okay. But no, they don't. So you'll see them probably come out in pregame uniform. Like I'll have on the shirt that everyone else wears in pregame, and then when we go back in, before I come out, I take it off and put a black shirt on, just so I'm visible. Because we will wear, like when we're at home, the coaches will wear white because the team is in a dark color, but I don't want to be in the same color the rest of the coaches are in because then they can't see me. Same thing with Coach Smith. So when you signal, you want to kind of stand out. So because I'm calling the plays and they need to be able to see a line of sight straight to me, I wear a different color shirt. So yeah, we've been doing it for about 4 years now. So whoever asks, they yeah. Now the team's in different uniforms, and that's a problem. Yeah, they'll be uniform, but now coaches, we kind of let them, like, as long as it's FAMU gear and it's Nike gear, then they're okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. Well, we're still waiting on a couple of guys, hopefully that we get word on this week, and then if not this week, we really feel good that next week we'll get them back. So typically 4 games is kind of the threshold that the NCAA typically renders whenever there's some type of eligibility issue. You typically get 4 games, and so even if they don't get the waiver done by this week, we should get them back next week because we will have played 4 games by then. So hopefully we get at least 2 or 3 of them back just based off that alone. So Terrell Jennings that are returning. So Terrell Jennings and Jalen McLeod. Yeah. So Terrell will be back. He's practiced well this week, and then Jay McLeod came back as well. So A.J. Davis is still probably a week away with a high ankle sprain, and then DeAndre Francis unfortunately took a nice little shot last week in practice that got him out for a little bit. So yeah, it was friendly fire. So. Yeah, probably the hardest hit we had all year. So hopefully we can hit A&M that hard this Saturday because it was a pretty brutal hit. He's doing a lot better with every rep. He's a freshman, so with every rep he gets, the more confidence he gets. Again, now we're able to have a core group of 5 that can work together, and that helps him. So he knows who's to his left and who's to his right. So getting used to communicating with those guys is critical up front. So now that this will be the second game in a row that we'll have the same starting 5 across the board. So that should give us a lot more consistency up front as opposed to the revolving door of playing a different guy in a different spot. It's kind of hard to get consistency when you do that. Same thing in the secondary. We'll have the same starting 5 in the secondary from last game. So again, that consistency that we've been able to have, now that we know who we have and everybody's, for the most part is cleared, we're able to practice throughout the week that way and give those guys a lot more confidence. Yes, sir.
Not necessarily a question, but a comment. I was wondering if you could give a message to your team of Lil Harold. I saw some HBCU rankings in terms of number 1 folks for HBCUs, and we're being treated like Roger Jenkins. I hope just on that Lil Harold wants you all to put Alabama A&M behind this week so that they can give us a little more respect.
Yeah, I tell you what, and I really don't typically pay attention to the rankings, especially early in the season. Obviously, I have to vote on it every week as a voting member for the HBCU polls as well as the FCS poll. And when I saw the Box to Row top 10 come out this week and we weren't in there, it pissed me off a little bit. Yeah, because there's some 0-3 teams in the rank. I'm like, hold on now, they got beat last week and they moved up into the rankings. So it's we got a message to send. So we'll be back in the next week. We'll be back in there. Next year will be South Florida. Yes. And then all our home games are money games too. It better be. Sellouts. Hopefully this week. Hopefully this week. He's had a really good week of practice. He's back in the starting lineup. And so it took him a while to come. We didn't want to rush him back. Coming off of that foot injury, we didn't, the worst thing is to rush him back, and then he has a major setback, and then he's out for the year, right? So the plan was to play him about 10 snaps against North Carolina, because, again, he hadn't gone through training camp, so just kind of get his wind back. Jackson, probably 20 snaps or so, and then last game he played a lot more, but he's 100% now. He has no effects from the foot. It doesn't really get sore anymore after running around. So he's back in the starting lineup, so I think you'll see the old number 10 this weekend. Jamarie Shareed. Yeah, they call him K-Dot. That was a little receiver that was running around fast last year and making all the plays. Yeah, he's been out. He broke his foot this summer, outside bone of his foot. So they put screws in it, and it took him a while. So he's finally back now. So he'll be back. He got him a new shoe. So we had to contact Nike, because what we found out was that the low shoes that they make, of course they make low top, mids, and highs. For the skill guys, the low shoe they made, they basically took a track shoe and created a football cleat out of it, which probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. Nike's done a lot of really good things, but track is a straight line sport. You don't change directions in track. You run in a straight line. Obviously, football is a big change of direction sport, so just the pressure of, with his foot rolling over a bunch on that change of direction, and we've had 2 guys do it. So he did it this summer, non-contact, just ran a route, made a cut, scored a touchdown, and came up limping. And then in practice, during training camp, same thing. A guy called a pass, made a cut, and came up limping. So non-contact injuries. The University of Alabama had one, and I think that's when it got serious. So kind of like when Zion Williamson basketball shoe bust open, they're like, okay, yeah, we got to do something different. So, but yeah, once one of the Crimson Tide boys broke his foot with the same shoe, they said we might need to create another shoe for skill guys. So I think we should begin another shipment of shoes coming in. I know we talked to the Nike rep, and so we got some in this past week, should begin some more in, and hopefully have a nice surprise coming in a few weeks that we'll hopefully be able to debut by homecoming. So looking forward to that. About 30 seconds. You're going to ask all the questions you need. That's why he's here. Yes, Coach. Is Jeremy going to court 19? Yes. 19 is going to get the ball a lot this weekend. Just know that. Yeah. It's a family show. I think the defense is starting to hit its stride. I really do. Again, took them a little while to, just like anything else. Every year is different. So when you have a lot of success in one year, and then you lose a couple of key guys off that, sometimes you kind of assume that you can do the same things and create the same results. But when you lose a Marquise Bell, that's a huge loss. And we saw that the first couple of games. Like some of those tackles that we missed in the first game, we were like, oh, yeah, that would have been an easy tackle, 2nd and 8 with Marquise Bell in there. Now it's 1st and 10 after a 15-yard gain. So we had to kind of figure out where we had some, not holes per se, but you got to, like I said again, you got an all-time great, right? So offensively in 2019, we could throw the ball almost every play with Ryan. And 20, we couldn't do that. We had to figure out how to manufacture an offense without an all-time leading passer at quarterback. So we had to run the ball more. So for us, defensive was kind of the same thing. We had to figure out how to cover up the huge loss that not only Marquise Bell left, but Savion Williams as well as a defensive end. So you got the nation's sack leader on one side, but you got insane, crazy man on the other side you can't just say you're just going to block Isaiah Land every play. Well, now we don't have that same production at the other end spot, so teams are starting to game plan to try to make sure 31 doesn't go out there and get a sack every play. So we had to find a way to get more pressure opposite Isaiah. So whether that be blitzing a little bit more off that side, doing more games up front, we had to figure those things out. So that's what coaching is. You got to adjust week to week to figure out, or season to season, to figure out where your strengths are, where maybe you're not as strong as you were in the year before. And so I think defensively, we're to that point now. We kind of know where we are strength-wise, and so I think you'll see a strong showing this weekend from our defense. All right. What's that? Oh, well, you know, Coach Smith will be talking to Coach. Ed is my consultant. So, yeah, Ed and I got our session later on today. You know, we usually go on Wednesday afternoons, and then we'll have another session around Friday. And then right before kickoff, you know, and then at halftime, he's in there. Yeah, yeah. Jackson State, he was hot, you know, so he was a little overheated, so we didn't really get the advice we needed for that game last week. Oh, yeah, he's our lead analyst, and he's our consultant too. So anybody who wants to come on, it does a thorough vetting process to make sure that they're right for the team. You know, so not often do you have a chance to get a state champion quarterback, coach, historian on your staff. You know, and point guard, you know, pitcher, all that. He did a little bit of it all, so we're blessed. But again, 6 o'clock kickoff. Rattler walk for anybody who's there will be at about 3:50. The team will line up in Gaither Gym, and then we'll have the March 100 usher us into the field house about 3:50 on Saturday afternoon. So if you got a little bit of energy left, I know some of y'all will be out there early morning, drinking your water and eating your chips, and so if you got a little bit of energy, and come over there and usher the guys in before we take the field. So, but look forward to seeing everyone, and as always, go Rattlers.
Thank you, Coach. There seemed to be some concern about my value as an analyst. I just want to say, when I was coaching the Little League Championship team in St. Petersburg, I noticed at halftime they couldn't see me when I was sending signals, so I had to change my shirt. So when Coach got here, I told him about that, and I see he's following through. Okay. Yeah. I don't work on off weeks. I'm very pleased, folks. It's always good to see Mike, but today we also have the Vice President of Finance. I believe, Mike, is that the right title? Miss Gloria Walker, or Mrs. Gloria Walker. And what I like about Mrs. Walker, I hadn't met her, but she was out of town when I called her. I believe it was kind of late at night, too, but she got right back with me, and then she followed through, and next thing I know, the next day I had another follow-through from her, so I can see she's going to be a very pleasure to work with. Mike, I'm going to bring the Vice President up first, if that's okay, unless you would do it otherwise. Oh, okay. Mike wants to introduce his boss, so to speak. Mike Smith, people.
Hello, everybody. What this gentleman didn't tell y'all, that at the game on against Albany State, he was also in the president's suite making calls too. So everybody was up there watching him oversee Coach Simmons in the suite. I was wondering what all the hand gesturing was to you, but I figured it out. And about KD, he found out that I was in the locker room getting measured up, so that's why he speeded up his readiness for the game. And so I got cleared to play, and then Tanya Tatum told me it was too late, and so KD's ready to go now, so we're in good shape. So, again, it's always good to see this team and this group, your support of FAMU Athletics is very much appreciative, and I tell you that every time I come because I really mean it. And so I know we got some things on the table that you all would like for us to discuss and share. But before I do that, I do want to introduce our Vice President and CFO, Dr. Gloria Walker. She's been here since June. Boots on the ground, feet on the ground, and she's been running ever since to add value and continue to move forward. And so I asked her, as well as her Associate Vice President, Chris Hessel, who is the Associate Vice President for Facilities Planning and Construction, to be here as well to talk about the completion of the renovation project. I think, before we had a team here with at the time, the interim Vice President, Mrs. Brown, and her team speak about the project. And so now that the project is complete, I think they'll be able to add some context to what that project looks like and any other questions that you may have. And so without further ado, and then I have a couple more people we'll talk about that you already know as well. But I wanted to introduce Dr. Gloria Walker.
Thanks, A.D. Smith. Thank you, A.D. Smith. Once again, I'm just delighted to be before you. Thank you for the warm welcome. As A.D. Smith had noted, I've been here since June, and it has been feet on the ground, boots on the ground, every body part on the ground and running from one place to the other. We've had a lot of challenges, but I think that we are accomplishing the things that are expected of us to accomplish, whether it be the stadium renovation, whether it be athletics in particular. So I think we're doing a real good job. And no matter what the hearsay is, we just want to make sure that we have our best showing at all times and be representative of an institution. As A.D. Smith have noted, I do have Associate Vice President for Facility, Construction, and Planning here with me, Chris Hessel. As you know, you have just witnessed going into the newly renovated stadium, and I must say it was a bright surprise for me to have witnessed or come in the middle of that construction and us to complete it on time and within budget. Normally that does not happen when you have major renovations across the boards, and I've been involved in a whole bunch of renovations, and most of the time it does not. We had a great team to work with. We had great leadership, and A.D. Smith leading that project along with Chris Hessel from the facility side. The design piece have just been actually it's a beautiful building, beautiful facility, and I'm hoping that the athletes and the coach appreciate that, because there was a lot of hard work that went into doing that, and your support has been just at the top of the ladder on that for us. So we do appreciate your support and continued support, not only monetary but prayers and anything else that you can lift up on our behalf as we continue to improve what we're doing at FAMU. And it's more than just athletics for us. It's like the whole student population and the type of kids that we're producing. And we're producing them back into a market that is much needed as it relates to diversity, as well as it relates to skill set and all of those things. So with your support, that's enabled us to do what we need to do to make sure we're producing great students, great future alumni, future Rattlers that's going to give back and enhance whatever we're doing at the time. So I know that we had a lot of questions about this, maybe about the stadium in terms of the way it was designed and some of the season tickets that are sitting that are positioned in the stadium that creates a lack of visibility, as you may want to have in there. So we're hoping to correct that. But I'm going to ask Chris to come up to talk about like the design piece, and then I will introduce, A.D. Smith will introduce Ms. Regina Battle to talk about the season ticket holders or the seats that are impacted by that lack of visibility around the athletic booths. The president's press box. Skybox, I like to call it the skybox. Most folks don't like to say skybox because they think it's prestigious, but it is a nice facility. Yes, sir. Thank you for that question. As a matter of fact, that would be phase 3 of the project as soon as we. Oh, I'm sorry. He asked about the restroom. Are there any plans for any renovations of the restrooms? And yes, there are. That's phase 3 of the project. As soon as we can get the funding to do that. We were blessed with having the funding from the city and that blueprint.
Yes,
Blueprint to put like $10 million into that project, and the institution put the rest of the dollars into that. So that's not necessarily on hold, but it is based upon the funding that we anticipate raising to do the restrooms in phase 3. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. I did not know that. But we do have Miss Battle here that probably can answer that a lot better than I. Because I didn't sit in my seat they assigned to me, so I hope when I go to my seat it's the one that they sold me, you know? Oh, well, we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to let Miss Battle discuss that, and then we'll find a remedy one way or the other.
Okay, I'm sorry. So are you saying your season ticket seats or just an individual seat? Right. So the manifest that we have does match. It's whatever's in the system is what is out in the stadium. You can't hear me? I'm sorry. The manifest that we received that the box office work off of is what is in the stadium, the seats at the stadium. There is some misnumbering that we have corrected. So hopefully when you arrive Saturday, that whatever problems or issues you may have had has been corrected. And so my other question to you is, did you contact the box office to let them know that there was an issue with your seating?
I did, and the response that I got, I thought it was just best for me to leave because I'm going back home.
Okay. So you and I can have a sidebar and we can discuss that then, okay? Ms. Walker, I'm gonna start you last because you're gonna ask me 5 questions. You got that one.
Okay, I got 4 seats, but let's say homecoming, I have guests, of course I'm gonna put them up there. I was attempting to step off that fence, but the only reason I didn't do it because for my dignity. You know, I was right there next to it, you know, but I went down to the other 2 seats that I had. So I just wanna know how long it takes and will it be corrected by homecoming?
We are probably in the process of doing that. What we're going to do this afternoon after I leave this meeting, I was supposed to have been over to the stadium yesterday, but got bombarded with some other things. So we're going to go back, and I'm going to sit in that seat, or in those seats, to see what visibility is impaired. From what we're thinking right now, we placed a wrap around that alcove that the 40 seats in the president's box extend out to. So we're thinking that if we take that wrap out, that may make those seats have a better visibility, a sight of vision on that. But if not, then we're thinking about other remedies, including possibly moving those seats that are there to another part of the stadium. That's what I was instructed to do. Yeah, yes, the president was in agreement with that, so we're still working on it. Ma'am?
I only have 2, not 5.
Not 5, okay. She has 2.
First of all, about the permit for the disabled to take the elevator.
Yes.
Will we have to continue to come every week to get that?
No, ma'am. We're trying to get that corrected. I have requested that I get the season pass so I can get them distributed to you guys.
Okay. The second one is, I'm one of those, I've been moved from the 50-yard line to down there by the 20-yard line because I'm a row 43. I used to lean my head on the press box.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I able now to come and, what was the word you used, your manifest? to see if I can move my seat, invest in champion, so I can be closer to the middle rather than way down there on.
Unfortunately, Dr. Walker, is inventory. So we don't have the, I'm not, yeah,
I mean,
Lila.
if there's some spaces,
Right.
just for one person,
You,
one space.
I'll check on that for you. But the inventory is very limited, which is why you all got positioned to where, unfortunately, where you're positioned at for this year. So it was a tough call for a lot of people. That row 43 or 44 and below to row 33, it was hard decisions we had to make when it came to moving and relocating you guys.
But you all sold out.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Pinckney.
So, you want to speak? Okay. So for the restroom, we do have a plan we have porters. So again, Chris Hessel is the Associate Vice President for Facilities Planning and Construction, as well as Plant Operations and Maintenance. And so we've partnered with his team to make sure that we have the proper staff to be able to provide service in the restrooms throughout the game and preparation for the game. And so that's something that we'll continue to do. We've also want to give them some kudos, because while we're waiting on phase 3 process to take place, there were some things that they did do to upgrade some of the restrooms to some degree to have it, better than what it was last year. So we do appreciate that. But as far as servicing those restrooms, we do have a plan in place. It was in place this past week. They're doing some things to enhance it from a personnel perspective. That was reported out at our operations meeting as well. So we'll continue to make that a point of emphasis as part of the overall experience. To include, we're working with Tanya Tatum and her team. I'll introduce her, the Director of Health Services. We also put ADA restrooms around the stadium to make those accessible, just to try to find a way to improve on some things that holistically we haven't been able to do, as Dr. Walker spoke of, and Chris, who's the facilities guy, can tell you more about. So yes, those are points of emphasis to make sure that we can have service and make you feel as comfortable as possible going into a public restroom at the stadium when we have football games.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir.
Just to add on to that question, a month ago, I addressed that issue, and this is the response that we were given in this meeting, that we would have people in the restrooms with buckets and mops. Now, you just mentioned that going forward, we're going to make sure. But a month ago, we were told that there would be people, because we know we got a plumbing issue, all right? And we know it's going to be resolved in phase 3. We're not overly anxious. But having service people in there in the Albany State game and all subsequent games should not be another promise that we're going to do it. Do we have those people already identified for Saturday with a staff member who is going to oversee that they are doing their job?
Yes, I've talked to my Director of Custodial Operations, Harold Parker, and we will have staff there in the restrooms as indicated. I'm sorry? Last year? Yeah, there are a number of plumbing issues, and we addressed some of the drainage issues. We have addressed a number of the drainage issues from last year. So have you experienced the same issues this year with the water? Okay, well, I will make sure that my Director of Custodial Operations has staff within the restrooms.
Okay. I have 12 season tickets. I'm invested in Champion 2 of the 1650. It cost me $4,400 this year, $4,040 last year. By the last weekend, I decided I could watch the Rattlers on TV. This is, I'm getting, well, I didn't have anything to do with building the stadium. I had one of those seats that was right up against the box. You can see from the 40-yard back, the other 60 yards, you can't see anything. And I'm trying to work with, okay, help me. Finally, yesterday afternoon, Miss McKay, she spent 2 hours listening to me scream. We screamed at each other starting out, and we finally came, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? She walked over to the stadium. She came back. She said, let's see what we can do. She went in there and looked at her computer. It's not what I wanted, but next year I'll give another $4,000 or whatever and spend $600 more down there at Orlando. I'm not the happiest camper, but it all, how you handle it. Because when I'm hearing, well, I didn't have anything to do with the stadium. If I'm looking at you and you work for FAMU, it's your problem.
Right, and I appreciate that, and I received that comment.
Ms.
Okay,
McKay,
right,
Ms. McKay,
right. So
she did a very good job. I love her.
So from the very beginning, we've shared with you, and we've been here, the team has been here to tell you that there are some things because of the renovation that it is what it is in terms of the number of seats that used to be in certain locations, and there will be some fans and supporters that will be displaced.
But what I want to hear is, what can you do for me?
Right.
Can we meet in the middle?
Right, and so I'm trying to get there, right? So part of it is, as Ms. Battle said, looking at our inventory that is currently available, right? Based on folks that were displaced, the whole 9 yards of repurposing locations, and some people landed or stayed in the spots they were in, some did not, right? And so again, as they continue to look at the inventory, based on the manifest and what's been sold and what's available, then that's how Ms. McCabe, Ms. Rashidak was able to assist you, and we applaud her and we thank her for that. She's the box office manager. She reports to Ms. Battle, and she's given her that support for her to be able to do that. And so that's what they're doing as best they can based on what's available at this point in time. So there's a lot of individuals that are having some of the same pain points. Some in this, made the adjustments, some we get it. And so I'm not, from an athletic director perspective, I'm not ducking and dodging from that. I'm just trying to explain to you and work with the team as best we can to satisfy our customer at this point in stage based on what we have. There was a reduction in the seating based on the renovation on both the east and the west side. That's been communicated, and the team has done,
Almost 1,000 seats.
Yeah, and so the team has worked since we got here and started back in April when Regina and I returned, and as well as before, our former athletic director. They were all working because we knew that this was going to be something that we were going to have to champion. And I think everybody's trying to get to the best solution this time this year. Now, next year, it's probably going to be something different, right? Just to be brutally honest with you, right? So we're going to have to look at the whole process, right, of the inventory and the number of seats that are available and some of the premium spaces, right? So we got to get ready for that, all right? And so that's going to be a shift. That's something we'll have to talk about maybe at a later time. But those are some of the truths, ladies and gentlemen, about what the current construct and situation is in our stadium. That does not minimize your pain point for your contribution and support of Coach Simmons and the football team, as well as the entire athletics department. I'm not discounting that, making any excuses, but I can guarantee you that the team, through the vice president's leadership and the assistant vice president for business and auxiliary services and Ms. Battle, they're doing all the gymnastics that they can to try to make this as best as we possibly can for you. That's a commitment that we have to you. That's not an excuse, right? Okay, and that's what we're trying to do. Okay, yes, sir.
She told me that parking ticket I got, that she take care of it because I was parked for 2 hours in that circle, and I left the ticket with her. Please see that ticket.
working on it.
I'll pay that $30.
We're working on it.
Okay. So 2 things, right? I don't know if we're going to be able to solve everybody's individual ticket matter today. All right. But will we hear you out, listen, and be committed to getting you the best answer and or a solution that we can? I would say yes, we will. Right? Right. Will it be everything that you want? No, it won't. I want to play Saturday. He ain't going to let me. Right? No matter what. I don't care what she says, he's not going to let me play. Right? And so I'm not saying that to be dismissive. I'm not saying that to be we don't want to hear it. I'm just telling y'all we are working all the time for you. Right? And I hope y'all know that. That's what we're trying to do to the best of our ability, right? And where we miss the mark, I don't have a problem saying it, Mr. Selvin. I don't have a problem saying it, Colonel. But know that the Rasheed and the battles and all those folks, they're really trying to make your experience as best we can. So
this isn't ticket related. It's regarding the stadium seats. So what's listed on the prohibited items is chair backs with arms or chair backs that are larger than 16 inches. Bought 2 seats from the bookstore last year. Attempted to take them in at the first game. Was told I couldn't take them in because they had metal. That's not listed on the prohibited item. So originally told I couldn't take them in. I asked to speak to the supervisor, and all of a sudden I could take them in. So if metal is an issue, if we can add that to the list, so we'll be prepared. Or if
it shouldn't be an issue. We'll communicate that. We'll communicate to Rhino's staff, right? We'll communicate that to him.
Very nice about it.
Okay.
I don't want to get that wrong. They were very nice. I just wanted to make sure you were.
Got it. Okay. No, ma'am, you're not going to get, in all cases, 2 spots in the stadium. The inventory just does not allow for us to do that. And so, again, we had to make the adjustment based on what was promised in the packet and what we actually had from an inventory perspective and the number of people that were purchasing. So, no, that's not. No, we have parking spaces. Do we have all the parking spaces in the stadium? No, we don't. So there are parking spaces that we have taken to make those areas the most contiguous to the stadium, close to the stadium with the parking garage, as well as the stadium, and then the SBI lot. Those are the ones that are closest to the stadium. And so, yes, that's what we did based on our inventory. But again, you're going to see something different when it comes down to your packages next year around that same space, okay? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Mine have to do with the investment in camping tickets for the Florida Classic. I haven't put it up on Ticketmaster, but where would it be for the investment in camping tickets?
Okay, so for the package, the Invested in Champion package, it did tell you if you were 1650 and above that the Florida Classic game will be included in your package. Those were limited areas that we could pull tickets from because in the real world, those are tickets that don't have a cost to them. So, you know, that's one of our largest games and our biggest sales. So we had to minimize where we can put our tickets at. I don't know exactly where your seats are, but it was not 40 or 50 yard line seats. We were only assured to give you guys sideline seats in those packages if you go back and read your package information. But we did open up that game for you guys a week before we went on sale to the public, so you had an option to go buy those that you probably were accustomed to sitting there, which was the 40 and 50 yard line. I thought we took care of yours, Ms. Moore.
Okay, I'm satisfied.
Okay.
Inside brag, even though I had to split
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but the Orlando tickets, that's what I wanted to ask. How did y'all go about distributing those tickets?
See, for your package, you gotta remember, you're a higher donor, so you receive 2 indoor club seats and 2 regular tickets. So there was no way for us to get your 4 seats together. Is that not what you're asking?
No.
Okay.
How did I end up at over on 110 as opposed to when I paid my money the first of the year? And whoever put that information in should have been saying, okay, she was in there here, this. Did you not get those seats?
So it wasn't based on your donation and when you made the donation for the game. Remember, this particular game is one of our largest sellers. So the way the consortium had to make a decision, we were pulling value. We were pulling, I think you guys may have said 40, 50-yard line last year. And we was pulling those tickets. Every time they take that ticket away out of inventory, that's less revenue that's coming to Florida A&M, because you got to remember that game is split between us and BCU. So we had to make a decision. Do you want to value your comps here at this level? Because in your package, that game is free to you all. So we had to pull our comps from a certain area to try and make up some of the revenue that we kind of lose when we just start giving out that kind of locations. So.
Okay, so if I had given you the club back, I could have gotten together with you with my family.
You want to give us back those clubs? They're a hot ticket right now. I understand your family is split.
7- and 8-year-olds down on row F and up in the club section.
I understand that, Ms. Moore, but that is part of your package. Your tickets would have never been together because it says you get 2 club.
I've done the
Right.
whole thing
Okay.
before, but it's just like they're old.
I know no one's satisfied with the yard line for those free tickets, but unfortunately that's what we had to do this year. And again, as Mr. Smith has been indicating, there are a lot of changes that will come with the package next year, and the Florida Classic game will be part of that change. We just don't know what the change is going to be yet, but there will be some changes. Oh yes, we encourage people to go to the east side of the field. Would you like to make that change? Okay. We do. The east side 50-yard line is reserved seating. Yes. I'm sorry, let me get Mr. Wilson.
I would like to make a statement. Knowing that we were totally redoing this stadium, we knew there were going to be some growing pains. Not only that, we had a change of administration. I just want to, and I understand everybody's frustration. I donate to everything, and I'm a ticket holder and donate to everything. But I just want us to, we knew that we were redoing the stadium for a reason. If you look, and I didn't notice this until this week when we were doing our final walkthrough with me documenting the changes to the stadium for the construction company. There was a major renovation down low that you all don't see, but the handicap, the ADA, goes all the way along the whole stadium. Our ADA people used to not be able to go past the 5-yard line, which was not fair, and ADA, Ms. Tatum can tell you, they were on it, they had been on us about that. But that takes space that we had, I was at Albany State all last year, and their president's box is still bigger than our president's box now. Let that sink in. We renovated and enlarged it, but the Albany State one is still bigger than our president. So don't think he's there with a luxury. That's just something he should have. It's our president. They need to be able to entertain people to make sure we can raise money for the university, not just athletics. So I understand everybody's frustration. I chalk it up to, I already knew that it was going to be a little chaos this year with us getting the stadium back from the construction company as close to the first game. I just ask everybody here, long-time Rattlers,
Rattlers I've known and respected since you were watching me play and before that. Just be a little patient with the people that are there because it's a transition. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you not to be mad. I'm just saying, just have a little patience for the people there who are there now because they certainly had nothing to do with the design of the Bragg Stadium.
And I noticed the last game, the 2 tickets that I got were separated by rows and seats. That was a surprise. I never had that happen before. I can take it to the ticket office and probably get it straight right. Yes. I'm gonna try to do that because I like where I am. I just wanna.
Yes, sir. That's unusual that happened that way, but again, it became with some of the numbering. So I just want to verify if you just contact us at the box office and we'll fix that for you. Mm-hmm.
Do we have to have the cannon?
Yes.
I got a 6-year-old granddaughter.
The cannon.
It's really bothered and a lot of kids because it's loud. It's loud.
We'll take that under advisement. And we'll come back. Okay.
Hey, but you know what? They used to shoot the cannon after the extra point, and we know to be prepared as soon as that kick went up. But now they shoot it
At the score.
as soon as the player passed the goal line.
So I got two more, and then Ms. Thornton.
I was told to ask this question. Several people, my son's one of them, said that they went there and parked in the park, they've been parking, and somebody was parked. Do we have a way in which those people can be told or whatever? He said he couldn't find the person there. This person didn't have no hanging tag or nothing.
Yes, sir. So, right. So that's been a point of emphasis going into this upcoming week in all seriousness. So there will be emphasis on enforcement starting on Friday afternoon at 5:30 at the Bragg Stadium and across the campus where we will be responsible for parking as well as on game day. And to also make sure that before individuals enter into those areas, when we block off the streets with the police department and TPD, that the individuals who are coming through with their vehicles have the appropriate hang tag that will allow them to be in there. We're also going to have staff in Bragg Stadium and at the parking garage and at the Welcome Center to identify if you have the right credential to be there and try to help direct you to those spaces that are appropriate. And so our game day meetings, as well as we had a meeting on Monday, it was all about improving parking because we anticipate, because of the weather, we're probably going to have more people that will attend that didn't attend last game. And of course, with it being Youth Day, we're going to have a lot of people there. And so we're trying to put emphasis on that and work towards that. So that's a very good question and something that we wanted to share as well.
The big part of that is I got a new life member here for the boosters, and he came today specifically asked this question. He was sending the other old chair backs and things like, and they got faded out and got a new one. He's already gonna paint the old one so they look like the new ones.
The box seats are faded, box 1 through 8 on the west side. And I think they were painted on the east side, but they're not painted. And just color your clothes when you sit down there.
I'll have my project manager look at that today. We'll look at that today.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say to Mike and the rest of the team, my experience, the first game experience, game day experience was much better and much improved than it was last year. And I think you all did a great job of planning this first game. Overall, there are always going to be little issues and everything, but you all worked together to really make it a much better experience than last year. I commend you all on that. I do have one question though. I see everybody standing there that you would think an organization like FAMU would bring to the table to deal with major renovation issues, resource issues, and everything else. Is this just for today, or have you all committed to meeting so that everybody knows, the right hand knows what the left hand's doing? You can pull ticket people into the meeting. You've got your finance people there. You've got your athletic department people there. Have you all formed an organization and a way of doing daily business that would ensure that we don't have the kind of crisis or problems we've had in the past?
So let me speak to that, and then I'll let Dr. Walker speak. Tanya, you'll come up too. Someone introduce Tanya Tatum and give her the floor to say a couple of words about. Tanya is our director of health, director of our health center, right? But she works very close with athletics on a number of issues and matters, right, to complement what we do. But more importantly, her team, she's responsible for helping us with EMS and a whole lot of other things that go back to our health and wellness and our safety platform. Of course, most of you probably know her from the COVID-19 station and all that good stuff, but she's the person that does a lot behind the scene, and so she's going to address some things that we have going on to make sure that you all know what's happening inside the stadium to address that. But going back to your question, yes, so we do pre-game operations meetings on a regular basis. We started those back in July. We do them every Tuesday throughout the entire football season. Coach Simmons has his staff and representatives there as well, and all of the individuals that represent Division of Finance and Administration, Student Affairs, Academic Affairs, all the appropriate disciplines across campus are a part of the meetings so that we can coordinate what we're going to do and how the overall experience is going to be. We'll also do that same platform on a smaller scale for our other sports, baseball, softball, basketball. They get the same type of attention because there are things that are unique to every operation and every game day experience that we have to be responsible for. But on a bigger scale, I'll let Dr. Walker speak to that from a finance and administration perspective.
Yes, I actually sit on the president's cabinet, and so does A.D. Smith. The leadership consists of 14 individuals that report directly to the president. As A.D. Smith is noting, we have a game day operation committee that A.D. Smith heads up, and all of the representation from the leadership team is someone that sits and supports the operations of the game day operations in particular. So yes, we're all at the table. We all are conversing with each other as well as with the cabinet, which we call the senior leadership team, which includes the president, myself, and the other vice presidents. We have about 6 other vice presidents at the table as well. And all of us are represented in some way or somehow with a game day operation, week-to-week meetings that A.D. Smith heads up.
So I would like to introduce Tanya. You'll step up and talk to them a little bit about what you do, but more importantly about what they can expect inside the stadium.
Okay. Thank you, A.D. Smith. And I'm Tanya, and I do run the clinic on campus. But we have been working since the last time he worked in athletics, and 2000 what?
We started together in
2010, and said, hey, we need first aid station at the football games. And we have been there ever since. Because we want to make sure that the fan experience, that you have all the support that you need, and that we can really look after the individuals that come, and that everybody has a good time while they're there. So our first aid station, the main first aid station, is located on the northeast corner. We're in that very last ticket booth. We took one ticket booth from the ticket office. And so we're stationed over there, and we had to change things up a little bit because of COVID, but we're, slowly getting back into it. but I have staff there from the clinic. We also use it as a clinical experience and a learning opportunity for some of our students in the School of Nursing. So we also bring some of the nursing faculty and a couple of the students that come and assist us. I'm also the point of contact with EMS. We make sure that they're there, that all of their needs are met. The folks that you see on the field in the mobile unit, their first objective is to take care of our players. So we make sure that they've got everything they need to be able to do that. But there are about 12 to 14 members of EMS that are at our games. And so they're located at various points around the stadium, and we're in constant communication with them. And they also assist us in assisting our fans. So we just want to make sure that you know that we're there. We have a second location on the southwest corner. Not a full first aid unit, but we do have water. I've got Band-Aids and a few other things. That's more of a hydration station, an area where you can cool off if you need to. But we want to be there. We've, really tried to meet your needs. And I just have one bit of advice for everybody. Please, this week is going to be really, really hot. Please stay hydrated when you come. Drink your water before you come. Make sure you keep drinking when you get there, because it is going to, the heat index is going to be really high this week, mostly today, tomorrow, and it's running into Friday and possibly rolls over on Saturday. So take care of yourselves, and we want to have a really great time on Saturday. Okay, thank you.
You can have it. You said keep drinking water when they get there, right? Okay. All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
That other beverage dehydrates you a little bit.
I can't.
There's a file copy of the game day operation that was sent to me in my office email, the fan mail rather. Yeah, we got it. Was this distributed outside the university? Because it answers a lot of questions.
It should have been. We'll double check and get with Josh. Okay, but we did prepare that, and we're going to update it again. But yes, we did have that document. I'm going to get fired if I don't have Coach say a word. Go ahead, Coach.
No, ma'am. No. 3 and under is free to enter in Bragg Stadium. Mm-hmm. Are they coming to this weekend's game? Because it's our youth day game, so that ticket would be $10 for this weekend.
For this game?
For this game, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. We haven't sent them. They're in your account. If you log into your account manager, you can see them. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. No, Camping World is 100% digital, so you have to have your ticket. Yes. Got to put it on your phone, put it in your wallet, download it before you get there. Yes. My advice is, because of the magnitude of people that are there, just before you leave your hotel, open it up. Just have it open, because once you get there and everyone's trying to do the same thing, yes. Well, unfortunately, they have a new system in place, so they have a safe code, so you can't screenshot your tickets this year. It's a rolling barcode, so they cannot screenshot. Really? Right. That's because they had duplication, so they put in a safe security method, so you can't do that. So that would be my recommendation. But I'll also have the box office manager just send out the instructions on what you all can do to all of the season ticket holders when it comes to downloading your tickets.
My God sister, if I don't get her, I'm okay.
Are they going to be
Yes, there are ushers at the game. There are ROTC at Bragg Stadium. Yes, our ROTC students are there on both sides. They were there.
There were people who couldn't find their seats.
Well,
And the seats down with double A down the lower in the lower part, the new part. They couldn't find their seats. They was not marked.
You and I will have a follow-up. Okay.
One last question. One last
Him
question.
and Mr. Smith, he
All right.
was up.
All right, two points.
Smith-
and
Mr. Smith.
And we're going to have to wrap it up, Mike. It's getting out of hand now. Can you go to camp?
Question. How long has the former sports information director been going? And the reason I'm asking this, I've been calling that number for I know a year, and I'm still getting Brian's voicemail. I think by now somebody ought to know that he's not here.
Okay, we'll
Put George on this so that he can answer the questions that people are calling for.
we'll follow up on that as well. Okay, Unc. All right. One last thing, if everybody doesn't know, Michael Rice is back as the head coach of our golf team. He starts on tomorrow. Just wanted to make sure everybody knows. Thanks again, everybody. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Jackson.
Okay, Mike. Mike, you still standing? Thank you, Vaughn, for your comments. I'm kind of amazed at how well Regina and Mike. Mike, how long you been on the job? Since April 27th. Came in the middle of things. We owe Mike Smith a lot of appreciation. We've never had an athletic director. We've never had an athletic director show up here. And believe me, it's not always a lot of fun coming here. But Mike has been here more times already than any other athletic director we ever had. And these guys have, yeah. I'm amazed at the complexity of what they have to do. Man, that stadium, that's a tough job. I think Regina was out for a while. She's only been back for a short period. But they are on top of this thing as about as much as anybody can be on top of it. We got a new stadium. That's good, but we got a long ways to go before we get it right. So be a little bit more patient with them, and let's appreciate them for coming here and facing you guys. Well, thank you. I didn't know what you were going to say. I appreciate that. I understand. I'm sure that Mike and this team will come back again and again until you guys are more and more satisfied. Hang in there with them this first year of the new stadium. And then let's see how things are going to work out. But they're going to be working every day to give you the best experience they can. And thank you, Mike, for your team and Vice President Walker. And we'll be here next week.